Welcome back. We are still here with Ms. Joan Mugenzi, CEO and lead coach at Imagine Me Africa, and also a prolific author. We are trying to explore issues of how to maximize performance in all spheres of life. Some of the issues that people keep saying is when you are putting in too much, when you are trying to do your best in a place of work, some people will tell you, is this your father's project? Why do you? So what is your view about this kind of attitude?
Well, okay, the reality is you're not going to work in one place forever. Even if it was your father's project, you will still live, right? For me, the attitude, again, going back to attitude, is to understand that every working opportunity is an opportunity for you to grow. If people could look at life as a journey and realize that every place where I am at is a stopover. I'm working here and learning. I told you I started off my career as a journalist. I was working for the New Vision, then moved into World Vision, worked for the Uganda office, went into the regional office. All those experiences are serving me right now, even as an entrepreneur, even as a self-employed person. All those experiences are paying me. I normally tell people, whoever cheats time, they are not cheating the employer. You might think you're cheating the employer, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating the time that you would have used. Because, for example, let me use the example of your camera guys, right? Every time they're behind those cameras, there are things that they are learning on a daily. Look at every day as an opportunity that, it's a seed that you're sowing for the future. And for me, that's how I look at life and every assignment that I get. I look at every client as a special client because I know I have not yet maximized my potential. So I look at every conversation I have as an opportunity. I'm sure these days I show up better on TV shows because somebody dared to host me when I had no idea how I'm supposed to show up on TV. So there are things that keep on popping up. So if you're listening and you're among those who think, you can only put in the bare minimum, it's the bare minimum that you're reaping for yourself in the future.
Great. Now the other thing has to do with time, because for us to maximize potential also, or to maximize our performance, it reflects in how we make use of our time. What advice would you really give a young person, the youth of today, in how they should use their time?
Use your time on things that matter. Like I said, first of all, do your self-discovery and understand what are the things that are meaningful. Who am I spending time with? Because when you look around you can predict your future. Let me put it that way. You can literally predict your future because, like I said, spend time with 5 fools, you're the next fool. So who are the people that you're spending time with? What kind of books are you reading? What programs are you watching? All those things are feeding your mind. They are feeding your mindset. How you do a shift. This morning I was talking to people who showed up and they wanted to understand my journey from how I started off. And I said, when I was a child, our home was a transition home. We used to live close to the airport. And we used to escort our dad and other guests that would come to visit, and we take them to the airport. And at a young age, I kept on saying, I'm tired of bringing people to the airport. I look forward to a time when it will be me that they bring to the airport. And I mean, eventually the kind of work that I did took me to places. I literally tell people that at some point I was living my life off a suitcase because I would be coming back, change suitcases, get onto the next flight. So who are you? What are you feeding in your mind? So if you're busy listening to whatever things it is, anyway, just think about the things that you're listening to. I've told you, spend 1 hour every day on a subject for 5 years, you become an expert at it. So just think about the things that you're spending time on now and give yourself 5 years, that's what you're going to become an expert at. If you're happy with what you're spending time on now, go ahead. If you realize that your 5 years would be wasted, take something out of that.
And the other thing why some people complain or want to do less is they say their effort is not being recognized by the employer, or they are not being rewarded adequately, and therefore the reason why they choose to draw back, what kind of guidance would you give such a...
That's what I was saying, it's short-sightedness. Look at tomorrow. Think about what is going to happen the next day. Nobody starts off with a very high paycheck. And I wish people could also understand that whoever gives you your first job is also training you. Because that's what I'm saying. When I first joined the media, I didn't even know how to do my proper writing. In fact, the first stories that I put out were crazy, crazy Kampala stories. I look back, I can't trade that experience because it changed my life. I started understanding how do you write a meaningful story and all that. These days, I write pieces. I post them on LinkedIn. I post them on Facebook. I write, But that experience started off there in that place. How much money was I earning? Very little money. I think they were paying us 6,000. I was a graduate, and my first salary was 24,000 shillings out of 4 crazy, crazy Kampala stories. Today, I earn a lot out of writing. So choose what you want to believe, because especially when I'm talking to the young people, tomorrow is going to be a proper replica of what you're doing today.
So I think the whole thing boils down to mindset, and also the kind of mentorship or guidance that we really get. Because if someone is already alerted at this stage that whatever you sow is what you reap. Because when you sow in excellence at this time, irrespective of how much you are paid, you will definitely be able to reap in the future. But there seems to be a disconnect. People want it now.
Because it's an instant generation, instant coffee, instant noodles, instant everything. There is no instant success.
Now, also, we wish to touch on the issue of young people. These days, the emphasis is on innovation, creativity, problem solving. What needs to be done in order to develop this? Because it seems it has a bearing on also optimizing or maximizing performance.
I think that's a broad, it's a broad thing that will take care of parenting. We will have to revisit the kind of curriculum that we have in schools. There is a lot. It's a painful process when you come to think about it. If you're being trained to cram, you're not going to be innovative. If you're being trained to pass exams, because you take a child to a school and you're looking for a 4, you're not supporting that child to think. You get it? Because there's a lot of things that somebody will learn, for example, from play. Okay? But then you're thinking that's a waste of time. You want them to be in class, cram something, do what? It's not going to help. I think that's a whole discussion. It's a whole talk show with all kinds of experts in curriculum development, experts in parenting, and we all have to come together to say, what is it that I'm teaching my child? If you're pushing your child to just bring you 1, 2, 3, 4, you're losing that drift of what you need, because we need to enable. That's why I love school projects. And I don't involve myself I say, okay, they've given you the school project, get frustrated, cry as much as you want, finish crying, get back onto the project. When you come out as a victor at the end of it all, I have sparked off something on the mindset in terms of how you think about problem solving. Yeah.
Because I think that thing is also reflecting on performance of young graduates. These days, there's a lot of complaint about young people coming out of universities and other tertiary institutions, and they seem not to be ready for the field of work. So what would be the missing link from your own perspective?
Yeah, that's why for me the space that I'm in of coaching and mentorship is something that we need to continue pursuing, and let's exercise grace. For us who are receiving these people, let's exercise grace. But for the young people, let them have a teachable spirit. You need to get to a point of understanding that the child I'm getting has been spoon-fed, probably, because we are now beginning to have the generation that was pressed for 4s. Our generation, nobody was pressed for 4s. Okay? So I don't remember being worked up saying, am I going to get a 4? No. But now the pressure, children begin getting the pressure in primary 3, they are looking for a 4. So what is that? What are we planting in the heads of these children? And yet eventually we know as adults, people learn differently. We need to cater to the different learning styles and provide that kind of momentum. But let's exercise grace, let's hold these young people's hands and see whoever is teachable will benefit. Those who are not teachable, what will you redeem? They will have to discover eventually that, you know, they have to go back to the basics.
Now, you said a number of things that really are linked to building a culture of performance. What are some of the additional issues you want to raise or comments that you'd like to make in that regard on how we can build culture of performance?
It's an entire cycle. As an organization, how do you set yourself up to create a performing culture? As individuals, how do you set up yourself for proper performance? So it becomes an entire cycle to say, if I'm in charge of HR, if I'm in charge of learning and development, how do we work around that? What are the metrics that we want to track and support that process, but also constitute structures and systems that will support that process? Because it can't work in a vacuum. You can't just talk about it and wish it away.
Your final thoughts?
Come to us, coaches, and they will sort you out. But find a mentor, people who have been there, done that, and your life will be good.
Thank you very much, Ms. John Mugenzi, CEO and lead coach at Imagine Me Africa. It's really been a pleasure talking to you, and I believe our viewers have benefited a lot.
Pleasure being hosted.
Thanks for watching Smart 24 TV, and keep on watching.